this country, this government, which calls itself the State of Israel. Okay, um, and it's extremely bad. Okay, the government itself, and the government, in fact, if you can hear me over Greg's clicking, was you have a very good microphone, Greg. It's very good. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It's just it's too good, Greg. Do you understand? It's such a good microphone. We could hear literally everything. Okay.
What?
Yeah. Right. Stop clicking. All right. Moving on. So basically, it's bugging me. All right. Ow, damn! My cat bit me. All right. Here we go. So basically, the government is pretty bad because I'll tell you why. Because it's not based on Torah. The American government, the way it started out, the founding fathers, they based their government on Torah, but the government of Israel was founded by a bunch of socialist, semi-atheistic, secular people who tried to do everything possible to found this government on everything but the Torah. Okay, unfortunately, that's the case. So it's a bad government, and the people who were involved in it from the beginning are from a certain class, which does not resemble the majority of the Jewish people. Certainly not the Jewish people that are in Israel right now. And here's another thing that's very important for people to understand. The government was not at all responsible for the presence of Jewish people in Israel. You know, when you talk to people, I noticed this. I can't believe it just occurred to me after like 20 years of arguing about this with people. It occurred to me that when people think about the Israeli government, they actually think that the Israeli government facilitated or they made it possible for Jews to be in Israel, or they were, they were in favor of it, or they somehow, made it possible for Jews to come. No, folks, no. The Jews came to Israel for many reasons, and in spite of the people who became part of the political class of Israel, in spite. Save your questions for the end of
No,
class.
it's not a question. I just want to add meaning I want to give an example of what you're saying.
How long is this example, Greg? Because I'm on a roll here. I'm on a roll, babe. And if you give one of your lengthy...
We're having a conversation, sir. I ain't got no nothing.
No. I don't think so. No. It's my monologue time, Greg. Okay. So I feel like being a jerk because I'm tired and whatever,
Tired.
How I feel. Yeah, it's entertaining to me.
Well, I was gonna mention something called the Altalena.
The Altalena, yes, the boat.
When Jews were trying to land on the beaches of Israel, folks like Yitzhak Rabin, it's a whole story. You guys could look it up, but basically there were Jews who were firing upon Jews, and there was actually a gun battle between Jews trying to arrive in Israel and Jews who were trying to stop them. And that's just one of the many examples.
Yeah, Yitzhak Rabin, former prime minister, he's the one who gave the order to fire upon the Jews who were trying to land in Israel. They were on a boat. They were trying to come in. He fired on them because they were potential political rivals, because he was a piece of shit communist socialist scumbag and they weren't. Okay, so unfortunately, that's who dominates the political class of Israel. People like Rabin. Okay, some people say he tried to repent towards the end of his life, and he was always anti-Torah, and then at the very end of his life he decided that something sparked an interest, and he was getting closer to Torah observance and to repenting for his past sins, and perhaps that's why he was assassinated by his buddies who were very anti-Torah, very leftist, very atheistic. Okay, so but that's a rumor I heard. I hope that's true, actually. But anyway, so just so you understand, the presence of Jewish people in Israel is purely godly. Purely godly. What I mean is they were divine acts. Because for the main buildup of Jews in Israel started, I would say, in the early 1700s, right? There are many, many waves of religious Jews moving to Israel and working and building towns, draining the swamp, right? It was riddled with swamps and with thorny land and all that kind of stuff. And they put in the work, and if you go to Israel, folks, and you go to the different towns, you'll see that these towns were established in 1720 and 1707 and 1792 and so on and so forth. So you're thinking to yourself, well, that's well before 1948. What the hell was going on? How come we don't know about this? Well, because there are people who want you to think that we all just got there in 1948. Okay, so that's ridiculous. That's absurd. If you read, and I don't think we're gonna read it now, but maybe next time. If you read, what the hell's wrong with me? Samuel Clemens. What was Samuel? The guy who wrote Tom Sawyer.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. It's crazy. I am tired. If you read his account, he visited Israel. If you read his account as he describes the land, it was mostly barren, mostly empty. Okay, and the only positive things that he saw there were settlements, were towns established by Jews. So
Frank, I just want to say one thing on top of that. In Israeli schools, in Israeli high schools, elementary schools, when they teach history, and this is firsthand from a secular Israeli. Many secular Israelis have told me this, that they don't teach them about the part about the Hasidic Jews founding, different cities like Rosh Pina, Petach Tikva, different towns. They don't teach them anything about how religious people were instrumental in the founding, in the building up of the infrastructure of what was to become the state of Israel.
It was pure religious faith that caused that to happen, because no one wanted, even whatever empire was controlling that land, depending on what period of history, they didn't want anything to do with Israel. No one could make it there. It was very difficult. There was no special resources that were there. It was just controlled for its status symbol. No one liked it. There were very few Arabs. There were Bedouins there weren't even really Arabs. They're Bedouins.
Frank, we even have a story of one of the Hasidic Rebbes of the Chabad lineage who went to prison, and we have a day where we celebrate his release. And why did he go to prison? Why was he imprisoned by Russia? Because the Ottoman Empire was controlling Israel at that time, and he was sending money to students, yeshiva students in Israel, and Russia concocted a thing that he was supposedly sending money to the Ottomans, who were the enemies of Russia, so they jailed him. We're talking like the 1800s here. And then he was released, and there was this whole thing. That's how we know, among other...
Actually, I think that was the late 1700s.
Late 1700s. It's, I forget which, I think is it Yud Tet Kislev, 19th of Kislev, or... There's a few of these holidays where somebody was in prison. It's always somebody was in prison, they were released, and we celebrate. But that's what it was.
So
but they thought we were the allies.
They didn't really think that. They
use it as an excuse.
It was easy to to kind of like present that, and the moment anybody looked into it, they saw how ridiculous it was. But But anyway, so the point is that there's a lot of history of Jews. There are towns that were founded in Israel by Hasidic Jews that are older than the American Republic.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. So that there's quite a bit of Jewish history, even in recent times. Okay, so around the 1700s, that's when the rate of Jews moving to Israel